Okay, good morning, all the attendants of the Model United Nations gathering in Jakarta, specifically at the University of Atmajaya. I would like to address all of you with such a grateful heart. By the grace of the Lord God Almighty, we can have strength together and discuss together about the topic that I'm going to address, specifically about maintaining the peaceful use of the outer space as the global commons that is used for the purpose of the prosperity and the security of the world. Okay, and from the outset, we have to understand that outer space has been viewed as a domain that belongs to all of humanity, as a global commons. Just 1 year after the first launch of a satellite into space, United Nations recognized the importance of securing, safeguarding the outer space for the benefit of all humanity, and established an ad hoc committee on the questions of the peaceful use of outer space. It was also replaced by the Committee on the Peaceful Use of Outer Space, or what is called COPUOS, right? In 1958. It was set up to govern the explorations and use of space. This committee was instrumental in creating the 5 treaties and principles of outer space. Since that time, the Committee on the Peaceful Use of Outer Space has evolved, and the committee itself and its 2 subcommittees have become a unique platform for all the states, as a member states of United Nations, to come together to review the scope of international cooperations in peaceful use of outer space, and encouraging the continued research and the disseminations of information on outer space matters, and study all the legal questions that arising from the explorations of the outer space. Okay. However, the debate and issue of how the world, through United Nations, as the where all the channeling of the power in international politics is gathered, need to maintain the peaceful use of outer space. So in this particular part, I'm going to try to debate an issue, okay, about how United Nations, as the power hub of international politics, should maintain the peaceful use of the outer space. So regarding space activities, the areas of science, technology, law, policy, and security are inherently interlinked. We have to know the interdisciplinary linkage between all of these realms. The space technologies often have overlapping interactions with the civilians and also military applications. So the military and civilian applications overlap somehow in the outer space use, and choice made about the use of the outer space directly impact international peace, international safety, and international security. So we see there are 2 stakeholders, military and civilians, that will impact the international peace, safety, and security pertaining to the use of the outer space. In the 6 decades since that milestone, states have gone from short space flights to multinational long-term permanently inhabited space stations. Okay, space explorations is no longer just a lofty activity, okay, for the benefit of all humanity, but also a profitable business seen from the private sector perspective. That includes an array of projects developed by the private sector. As a result of human activity in outer space, space junk orbiting the planet, which total in billions right now, has become an urgent matter for us, many nations, to address. Plans to create what is called mega constellations, which result in the launch of thousands of satellites underscore the importance for the international community to take action quickly. Failure to do so can result in catastrophic accidents between space junk and other satellites or space vehicles that are available in outer space. These states, with the veto rights in United Nations, United States, Russia, China, all these three possess significant military space technology and have developed policies and attitudes about military use of outer space. The USA, for example, maintains a predominant role, of course, as a superpower at the moment, seeking to protect against increasing encroachment by Russia and also China. The three superpowers are fierce contenders, who are willing to do what it takes to remain competitive with each other. Okay. So, and then the European Union itself, India and Japan are also active participants in military space policy formations. On the fringe is, the state of North Korea, for example, okay, that has the willingness and then by fact is also using the outer space for the military purpose. And then in other examples, there are also from the private sectors, from non-governmental entities, there have been so much activities going on. For example, involving Intelsat, SES, Eutelsat, and the SpaceX, okay, which depend on the peace in the outer space to operate commercially, as seen from the private sector's profit-oriented interests, to create prosperity and also safety and security for all human beings, okay, on the planet Earth. All are subject to the prevailing international space law activities. Beyond the treaties, there is no secure, legally binding agreement among the parties. However, there are some challenges to the sustainable use of the outer space. I note here there are at least no less than 10. For example, one is how to provide technological support and sharing information to developing nations about the outer space and its uses for the military and civilian purpose. Second one is to ensure the rights of the future generations in outer space. And the third one is the proper use of nuclear power sources. The fourth one is the implementation of existing space laws. And the fifth one is that to uphold international cooperation and responsibility. And the next is to improve the domestic law and policy, because it's also important from the state's honest perspective of how its states will take their own role to maintain the peaceful use of the outer space. And the next one is we have to think about the space debris and environmental protection. The next one is incorporation of civil and military use in the space missions. And the next one is also about the further development of international space law, being seen from the international relations perspective, involving realism approach, liberalism approach, constructivist approach. Okay, and then the last one is how to regulate and control the commercial activities in the outer space. So there are propositions for sustaining or for establishing the sustainable use of space in the long run. There are at least 6 that I note here. First is to eliminate the nebulous of arms and military use, to establish the international body that is focused and then keep update with the sophisticated use of the outer space, and to manage all related aspects related pertaining to the use of the outer space, either for the military and also for civilian purposes, and how to share all the information necessary with all the member states of the United Nations. And the third one is the new regime for space environment and the commercializations. The fourth one is about the provisions for the asteroid exploitations. The fifth one is to establish enforcement mechanism and space core. Can imagine the space core, And then the last one is the urgent development of the space law, as we discussed before, to address the challenge that we have pertaining to the use of the outer space. Not only now, and also we need to address the forthcoming challenges that will be dealt by the future generations. And so, having said that, the great rise and diversifications of the use of the outer space raise the questions of what's called as space activities limitations. So the ultimate restrictions posed by the space law is using outer space for peaceful purposes. Regardless of the semantic approach one adopts concerning the definition of the term peaceful purpose in the outer space, treaty text, and the underlying substantive legal norm, constitute the determining factor. We have to know the essence of what is called the peaceful purpose. We don't have to debate about the peaceful purpose according to one party and then another definition according to the other party. So the applicable international legal rules confirm that the ultimate limit is the prohibitions of the use of force laid down in the Article 2, bracket 4 of the UN Charter. We can refer to the Article 2 of the UN Charter, 2 and bracket 4, which applies to outer space along with the exceptions stipulated by the UN Charter and the general international law, for sure. So in addition to that, the Outer Space Treaty established also a particular legal regime on celestial bodies, declaring the demilitarized zone, and bans the stationing of weapons of mass destruction in the outer space. There's a limitations according to the UN Charter. What can be done for the military use, what cannot be done for the military use, and what should be done for the peaceful use and for the business commercial purpose. So space law, as any other branch of public international law or public policy in this case, is is evolutive basically, because the policy must be reviewed and then adjusted. So it's called as a gradually progressive policy that reflects what is needed. That's why we have to be updated and then take this issue seriously about the outer space. So the future adjustment and developments of its legal normativity in light of the growth and multiplication of the explorations and the use in the space arena remain open. So as a conclusion, it is a great opportunity to use the space as a platform to increase the benefits of economics, social and environmental development. The use of space applications is a fundamental tool for conveying development throughout the world. The important core, the essence, the core, the essential core matters to ensure the sustainable use of the the space and to promote the developing countries to get benefit from space activities that are mostly used by, you know, the advanced economies, yeah, including superpowers. Okay, and of course, it needs what's called international cooperations and noble intention or the attitude of good faith towards the implementation and the regulations of the space law in the exploration is to use of the outer space. So basically, all the regulations, all the policy will only be effective if there's serious international relations, international interactions between all the member states, developed and developing countries, that is based on the noble intention and the good faith. Okay, so the General Assembly resolutions or United Nations resolutions reaffirms this statement, reaffirming the importance of international operations in the explorations and the peaceful use of outer space, what is called as UNOSA 2016. The necessity of well-organized laws and policies on the space activities has become stronger with the increasing number of space-faring states and other tangible challenges. Scholar says that the challenge is to generate the appropriate legal regime that will support and inspiring the explorations more and more. So we have to explore because we have the good intentions of how we better and best to use the space, outer space in this particular case, for the greater benefits in terms of security and prosperity of all human beings living on the planet Earth. So the ultimate target of space explorations is to develop human beings, like I said, and confirm the better life and facility. So it's space-faring country, yeah. It's faring country like a seafaring for Indonesia, you know, because we are articulating countries. Space-faring country should maintain and guarantee that all activities will be for peaceful use and for humanity, which solely depends on good faith, cooperations, respect for other interests, and equality, and also ensuring equitable participation of space benefits among all the member states, including developed and developing countries. In this context, the actual problem is not only the law itself to ensure sustainable use of outer space. The genuine challenge is making the political determinations to address the law. The genuine challenge is making the political determinations to address the law. So the political will that is based on the good faith is the key for the effective application of the international law. Therefore, the international community needs to regulate new rules and principles of their political will, which is difficult but not impossible. So having said that, as the last but not least, we can see the space as the fourth dimensions, as a strategic domain for countries to advance and protect their interests, and also for the create the better life, the secure life for everybody living on the planet Earth, seen from the international security perspective. Okay, first we have what's called as a land domain. Second one, we have the air domain, and we have the sea domain. Okay, and the fourth one, we have the space domain. And the fifth one, we have the cyber domain. So all these five domains are actually God-given. As a human beings, we have the mind, we have the heart, we have the spirit to create the best out of these five domains: land, sea, air, and also space, and also cyber as the physical domains. The physical, okay. Land consists of sand, you know, and all the land where we live now, and the sea, water, and air, hydrogen, you know, and the space, and also cyber, that is created by the interaction of electromagnetic spectrum. All are physics, but God gives us the mind and the spirit with the good intentions. How we create vehicle, so we can use the land for the security and prosperity purpose. We use a vehicle, right? We have the ability by God's wisdoms in order to create the vessel, sea vessel. So we can use the sea vessels in order to crossing the sea, and we have the wisdom to create what's called airplane. So we can use the air, and we also has the mind to create the orbital or elements or entities like space, like we discussed, space vehicles, satellites, being in the orbits in the outer space. This we have that capacity in order to create it based on God's wisdom given to us, and we also have the capability to make the connection between electromagnetic spectrums and computer networks in order to create what is called as a cyberspace. So, but everything that God gives us, we need to be wise to develop what is given to us. And then from the international relations perspective, we acknowledge there are three main streams: theories, realisms, liberalisms, and also constructivism. So from the realism perspective, who is strong will determine the rules of the game. Okay, you have this, I have that, and we sit together, we arrange the rules of the game, and we implement together. So the strong will determine what is right and what is wrong, what's supposed to be done and what's not supposed to be done. But as we know, the realist approach is not complete to address all the dynamics in this life, seen from the international perspective. That's why we develop what's called as liberalist perspective, that is based on the good intention of everybody, that will create the law, the regulating law that will regulate the behavior of all parties involved in this, in the dynamics of interactions. But law is still law. If we don't have good intentions to apply the law to be effective, it's not going to be effective. It doesn't work that way. So the theory of constructivism appeared, saying that everything based on the formation, establishment of the same perspective, the same values, that will create the same or similar behaviors, because what we are doing is actually based on the same interests and the same values. So we use all these three mainstream theories, realisms, liberalisms, and also constructivisms, in order to address the use of the outer space as the strategic domain for everyone, for developed and developing countries. That also can be used for sure, other than for the civilian purpose, for the military purpose. But the military purpose itself also has the limitations, and we are all responsible for that. So always think strategically about the using of the outer space. Means that we have to use the critical thinking in time, thinking in the system, synthesis thinking, and creative thinking, and also future thinking regarding the use of the outer space for a better life for everybody on the planet Earth. Okay, thank you for the time. I'm grateful for having this great opportunity, and then I send my warmest regards for everybody listening to this speech, and the best regard for me as the Deputy Head of the National Defense and Security Affairs at the National Research Institute, Alumni Association Strategic Center, from the within my capacity as the Director of International Engagement from the Democracy and Integrity for Peace Institute in Jakarta, or DIAT Institute, and also within my capacity as the Assistant Professor of International Politics at the University of Harapan, Indonesia. Thank you so much, readers.